Hi guys, welcome to Digital TechJoint. I hope everybody is doing good. So this is our seventh video tutorial on Learn Web API. Now in my video channel, there is a playlist that I had created which contains around 6 video tutorials on how to create a web API in 60 minutes. It has a detailed information on how to start off developing web API from the scratch. Then we have consuming that web API in your ASP.NET application, some of the best practices on consuming your web API. Then we secure that web API in our fourth tutorial while by creating a JSON web token. In the fifth tutorial, we covered how to consume that secured web API in your ASP.NET application. Obviously, we need to pass the JSON token when we consume any API that is having a token, JWT token as a bearer token to be passed. And finally, in the sixth video, we covered how to implement caching that boosts and improves your API performance. Now, in the seventh video, I'm going to show you how to implement, you know, creating a web API like pagination in your web API, and then subsequently how to consume that in your ASP.NET application and also implement paging in your view. So this two topic will be covered in this tutorial. So let's quickly run through the project that we had created so far. So we have two projects. One is a demo API, which is our web project, and then the school management. Now in this tutorial, we are going to work on both the project. So first we'll ensure that both the projects are set up as startup. Yeah, so multiple startup projects set and both are in the start mode. So we will just quickly execute this project and just go through our project once. Now in this tutorial I have added some around 50 to 80 records in the student database so that we can implement paging and see the paging correct. So here is a login, admin, and so once it logs in we can see students. Here you can see, so I've added few records, so I've added around 80, 85, 84 records, and I'll be implementing paging over here. So let's go ahead now. We will just make sure that we just run the API project because we are focused more on implementing web API first. So in order to implement paging, I'll just right click on the web API project, select startup. So now if I run, I should be able to see the Swagger tool, and here you can see get student. So in order to execute this, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to first generate the token. So this is all covered in my previous tutorials. If someone is viewing this video for the first time, I recommend that you watch all the previous videos. So here I'm just going to fetch the token. So here this is my token over here. I'm just going to copy that, and I'll be opening Postman. This is the Postman. This is a URL. So I'm going to just remove this URL. This I've used for the paging, and then I'm going to copy this bearer token and click on send. So here I'm able to see all the records that I've fetched. Now here we're going to do some modification in the code and then revisit this part again so that we can see the paging in action. So this is what the project is. Now I'm going to do is that make changes in the students controller, and here you can see get all student as just two lines of code. One is logging information and returning the toolist feature. Now in order to make paging, I need two important components, that is the page size and second is the page number. So here let me just write page size, and I'm going to say the default page size is 5, and then page number. So here also I can say the default is 1. Now in order to do the paging over here, I'm going to just simply make a small change over here and we can see the paging in action. But we're going to do an end-to-end implementation. We can actually dynamically pass this page number and page size from our school management project, so that we can manage that dynamically. For now, just to get going with the main piece of code, I'm just showing you. So this is the page size and the page number, and then I'm going to modify this particular line of code over here, and I'm going to simply say, instead of to list student register dot skip. Skip is a functionality that I can use it. So I'm going to make some changes over here. I'm going to skip and then take the record and then convert that into to list. So inside skip, I'm going to say page size multiply by get page size minus 1. Okay, and then dot take page size, and then I can take this to list. So this is a code. I'll just explain it to you. So what happens is let's just run through this logic. So page size is 10, and now up. So basically, assuming the page size is 10, what happens the first time? So first time our page size is 10. So I say 10, and then multiply by, then my page size. Sorry, this is page number. This is not. This is page number. Okay, so now my page number is by default, for example, 1 for the first time, minus 1, okay, which is 0, and then I'd say take 10. So basically what happens over here is, so 1 minus 1 is 0, and 0 multiplied by 10 is 0. So basically it will take the first 10 record. Similarly for the second page, now it's page size 10. Now this time it is 1, and then it is minus 1. Okay, this time is page 2, sorry, this is 1, and then take 10. So what happens over here is that you will get 10 multiplied by 1, this will be, and then take, so it will take the second 10th record. So second time what happens is that we are actually skipping that. The first time we skipped, so basically this is a skip and this is a take. So the first time when it multiply by 10 into 0, it is say it's saying actually basically skip 0 and take 10 records. Second time when we had passed page number 2, then basically we said 10 multiplied by 2 minus 1 is 10. So skip the first 10 record and take the next 10 records. Okay, similarly when the third time you pass page number 3, that is 3 minus 1, okay, and take 10. So what that implies is it's 10 multiplied by 2, that is 20. So that means it is saying skip the first 20 records and take the next 10 records. This is how. So if you have 30 records, the first time when you run the project, it will fetch the first 30 records. The second time you click on the page 2, it will skip the first 10 record and take the next 10 records. So similarly the logic works. This is how the skip and the take logic works. Now here we have added default page size as 5 and page number as 1. So this code will work as it is. So now if I run the project, so here I've actually set the default, so that means it should work. So what I'm going to do is run this project once, and then I'll go to the postman and put a breakpoint over here. And then I'm going to pass. Even if I don't pass, I should be able to still be able to set this. See if you can see, it's its default set. Now what happens is that it will logical work as I explained, and I should be able to see 5 records in my postman result. You can see there's only 5 records, 1 2 3 4 5. So you can also pass the query string over here and pass the number of flags. So here I can say page size 10 ampersand page number is 1. So let's see what happens over here. Now I'm passing the query string. So here now you can see the pace now is replaced by the value that I'm passing, that is 10. Now I should be able to see 10 records. Here you can see now the records have increased. I'm able to see the 10 records over here. So this is the quick method that I've explained to you guys. Now what I'm going to do is that if I run both the project, what happens if I run both the projects? Let us see. I'm going to set this as set as startup, and in my school management I go to the student controller, and here I want to put a breakpoint. I'll log in to generate the token. See, it is going to the service class. By default it will take 5 because I have hard coded that 5 and 1, so no exception, but you will see the result that it is only fetched the 5 records. Now we have implemented API in pagination in API, but how do we manage the front end? Because here we need the facility for the end user to select the page size, page number, also the page size. Obviously, as an if the admin wants to set 5, you can set it dynamically, or 10, can set it that also dynamically if the page size is defined in the app setting. So how do you do that, and how do you implement that paging, fledged paging in our application? For that, what you need to do is that we need to add some logic in our web API to manage the current page, next page, and whether it has the previous page or previous next record, and total page size, total records. Because based on the total records only, it will divide the page size and accordingly manage the different set of records to be displayed. So in order to do that, we need to make the changes in the web API as well as in the ASP.NET MVC application. Now the code will be similar, so what we can do is that it's more like a reuse. The code will be replicated in both the projects, but it is for your better understanding how things work. So let's go ahead and implement that. But before we implement that, also note that my aim of this tutorial was to quickly show you how paging is implemented in Web API, but I'm extending this tutorial so that people who want to implement that Web API having pagination in your ASP.NET project, then they should not struggle. So also apart from that, if you visit my channel, let me just show it to you. If you go and visit my channel, there is already a tutorials that I've created which talks about paging. So here if you can go and search my channel, there is a video that is at how to implement paging in ASP.NET Core, okay, and how to implement paging in Blazor as well. So I suggest that before, if you have no idea about pagination and you want to understand the end-to-end properly, then definitely you should go and watch this video, how to implement paging in ASP.NET Core. The link of this both this video will be placed in the end of this session, so that you have a better understanding. So coming back to our project, so what are the changes that we need to do in order to implement those changes? So first, those changes we will implement over here, and subsequently we'll implement that into our ASP.NET MVC application. So let's go ahead and create a class, a common utility class. And under the model folder, let us create one class as, this will be a class which will be called as API or page result class. Okay, so basically this class will be a generic class, and so what I'm going to do is that this will be a generic class over here. So I'm going to add the generic category, and then next I'm going to say that I will be adding certain properties like public list. It will be a list object, and this will have items, and it will be, so this is the first method. So this basically will have the students list, or for that matter, in tomorrow if you have more modules, you can add those also. That is why it is a generic method. Then I'm going to add int called current page. So this will be my current page count. And similarly, I'll have page size total pages, which is, and then I'm to count. I want to say int total count. This will be having total count of records. And then definitely we also need something called page size. And this will be my page size. So basically we have, let me organize this. This is the page size, current page, then page size, that is 10 pages or 20 records per page. Then we have the total pages, how many pages we have, and the total count. So this is a common generic class that I have created over here. Next thing we have to do is that I'm going to go to the student controller, and here I'm going to make the changes. So instead of list student, I want to make this a generic method over here, and this will be then calling the page result, okay, and then pass it to the calling method. So let's go ahead and do that. Remove the defaults over here. So we are creating a full-fledged routine and module, so that dynamically we can pass it from the calling method. So this is a page size and the page number. The first thing I'm going to do is that fetch the total number of records. For that I'm going to say total count, and this will be underscore db dot student register dot count. So this will fetch me the total record counts, and then I'm going to create a students object here. Before I proceed with that, I want to remove this. So we don't want this. We just need an public method which is iActionResult, okay, and we will pass the JSON over here. So I'll tell you how that will be done. So since we are not specifically returning the list of students, now we will have to return the data. We have to return the total count of data, the page number, total page size, and everything. So that is why I created a common module called the page result. So now what I'm going to do is that create an object called student list, and what this will hold is the total number of customers. So students, this will be student register. Now instead of directly, we are going to use this code over here. We're just going to copy this that we had created initially and paste that over here. Got it? So now what is going, we are going to hold this object will have the entire record basis the page size and the page number. So now I'm going to return the result. So result will be new page result. So this will be new page result, and inside that I'm going to pass the student entity, and this will have the following properties that are defined that I defined in this class. Will be passing that. First is items. So basically the items that are created over here will have student list, that is over here, right over here. Okay, then after that we are going to say the current page size. So this is the page current page is page number. Okay, then the total count, which is we have fetched from the above code, and finally total pages. So for total pages we are going to use a simple math. So total pages equals to int dot ceiling total count divided by page number, and finally we are going to remove this now and say return results, return okay results. So this is a code change that we have done over here for fetching all the records in our API. So I hope it is self-explanatory. That so basically we have created a class object. Now this class object will have all the required informations that we need in a calling function to manage the entire paging. Okay, so paging is that, total, it's not about only the size, page size, and the current page number. It also need to, you also need to manage whether this the previous and the next functionality. That is why we have this controls over here, so that we can manage those navigations as well over here. So let's put a breakpoint over here, and now let's run this project, and we set this as a startup project. So if not, we'll do that. So now demo API is a startup project, and now I'm going to run the project. I've set a breakpoint as well. This build is succeeded. Now we're going to use the postman and pass the parameters. So now I'm going to set page, say 4, and page number is 1, and I'm going to click on send. So here you can see, so total number of count is 55. Okay, and then we have page size is 4. Then obviously this is one first page, so that means we are going to skip 0 skip, and pay the take will be 4. So total, so we'll have 4 records over here for the first 4, and then we call this class, and inside the class we are passing the total records, the page number, and total page, and then the total pages as well. So it will be 55 divided by 4, that is the total number of pages. And here you can see total pages, total count, total pages, and total items, and the current page. Everything is passed to the calling application. So in this case, the postman will see items now. Okay, now inside that items, you can see all the 4 records. As well, you can also see the additional information that is required. So this additional information, for this additional information, we have enhanced the page result, and we have made it generic so that you can use this for other class as well. So we did not modify our existing student entity which has the properties, because here if you see, it does not have total count or does not have total pages and everything. We had created a generic class, so you can use this generic class for tomorrow. If you create a teachers class, or you've created lectures or something, you can, and if you need paging or in all these modules, you can use this. So now our API is ready. Our API is for passing the required parameters. It's time that we go ahead now and implement those changes in our school management ASP.NET MVC application. So let's do that. So before we do that, just ensure that you run both the projects. On property, click on multiple, apply, save. Correct. Now let's make the changes over here in this project. School management, we go to student controller. Now here is where we need to make the changes. This is the index that is fetching all the record and displaying in the view. And this index calls the get student service, which is there in our API service. So this is a method that will undergo some changes, and this is the method in the controller which undergoes changes. Now here first thing we need to do is that pass the page size and the page number. Now page size we will fetch from the app setting, because I want to show a generic method of approach that you can utilize. So instead of hard coding that page size in the code, in the controller code, we'll put it in the app setting, so that tomorrow if the admin wants to display instead of 5 records or instead of 4 records 10 record, he can do that without deploying any changes in the production. So here I'm just going to say int page number, and page size I'll fetch from the app setting. For that I'll go to app setting and add the parameters over there. So this will be page settings. Okay, and I'll pass the page size over here, which will be 4, okay, or 5 for that matter. So this is the setting that I need to do in the app setting. Now second thing I need to do is go to the student controller, and in the student controller what will ensure is that we will fetch this dynamically. So for that I'm going to add that extension. So I'm going to say Microsoft.extension.configuration, and then I'm going to use private read only I configuration config, yes, and then I have to check that in the controller. So this will be iConfig, and here you can see I've added dependency injection. Now I'm going to use this iconf underscore config and fetch the total page size. So in my index method, I'm going to say int page size and underscore config dot get value, and this will be int, and this will be page size. What was the app setting? Let me go. It's page settings and page size. So I'm going to say page setting colon page size. Just want to ensure that I don't do any typo issue. Page size. So what I'm going to do is that it will going to fetch the. So let me put a breakpoint over here. And now what I'm going to do is also make the changes in the get all students API web service that I created over here, which calls the API.students. So what I'm going to do is that apart from student parameter, this will also take in the page size and the page number. So let's make the changes over here. This will be int page size and int page number. Okay, and then I need to pass this over here in the API as well, because if you remember, we had made the changes. So that is expecting, this API is expecting either showed in the postman, it's expecting a page size and the page number. So I need to pass that over here. So first thing is I'll put a $sign over here, and then I'll put query string question mark, and this will be page size. Page size and page number is all small letters. Page size, and then here I'm going to pass the variable that is page size. So we pass the page number ampersand page number equals to, and copy this and replace the page size with page number. So this sounds good and this looks good, and this should work. So rebuild this once to ensure that there is no syntax error. Controller class of the MVC application, the index page is expecting two variables. So I'm going to pass that. So first is the page size that I got it from the config file, app setting file, sorry, and then the page number. So now our application is plugged in the required components. What we need to do is that before we go ahead and make the changes in the UI, because the UI will also undergo changes, because you need to display those in the bottom the page numbers and the option for user to click the page number so that they can navigate. Before we do that, let us ensure that our code that is we are plugged in is working. So we have put a breakpoint over here, and we will also put a breakpoint in our API student controller. It's already there. So let's run the project now, and this time we are going to use the front end to troubleshoot and to see how the code is working. So we click on login and we provide our username and password to generate the token. So now we click on student, and we have set a page size of 5. So let's, I did not click it, let me click it. Yeah, so I clicked it. Now first thing, we are going to fetch the page size. So the page size is fetched is 5, and now we are calling this method. I'm going to press F11, it has come over here. Now you can see it is page size is 5, page number is 0. So this is wrong. So by default we should set the some page number, because by default is a page 1. So what we can do is that we can just add default in our student control of the ASP.NET MVC application. So let's do that and let's run it again. Okay, so we generate the token. Okay, for students, now we click on F11. We go inside. Now we can see the page size has 5 and page number 1. Now we are going to just passing the query string correctly, and I'm just going to put a breakpoint over here, because here we'll get an error, because uh, this is deserializing into list object, and we have created an API that is actually passing us the data in the page result format, which is in this format. Okay, so this will throw us an error, and I wanted to show you that. First, let me just the API. So here it's come to the API. Let's ensure that this is working. The 55, we can see everything is returning, and this is working as per our expectation. Let me go to our student, and let me go to this API service and see show you the result as well. So I just clicked and the response is success. Now you can see the content. The content is also successfully come in. So here you can see the content along with the current page number, page size, and everything. So everything looks good, but however, this will not work. This deserialized this through an error. So you can see it will throw an error, because we are actually using different classes. The list object does not have other parameters that we define. The simple solution to this is we create a generic method out here also. We are just going to copy this class page result. Okay, what we do is come to our students school management, right click on the model and say add new class, and let's call it page result. Set properties over here. Okay, and let's go to our API service right over here, and instead of list, okay, student entity, I'm going to say page result. Okay, and I'm going to also make the changes in the API service method and make it to, instead of list, I'm going to say page result. And now the error is gone. Now let us run the project now. Okay, there's still some error. Okay, there it's over here. Let me just, yeah, it's over here because this is passing. So this will also change. This will be page result, and this will be page result. Let's log in. And so yeah, this is all working. Now the result is coming. Now I'm going to deserialize it now with the page result class now. So it worked, and here you can see the result. The total items will have the records. We also have a total page, total count, page, and everything, and it is returning back. And we should be able to see the records as well. But there is an error. Why there is an error? Because now we need to make the changes in the view model. So we go to the view model of students, and here you can see index. We are referring to the list object. So now this will also undergo some changes. Let's do that. Let's make the changes. So this will be your page result. And here you can see the error coming is model dot items, because now we have the model items that if you see the page result, we have items over here. So it is binding with the object. So in a view also that will change. So now we'll be able to see 5 records. And students, and I want to debug, and I want to points. You can see the 5 records. Now, as an admin, as I told you, I can have the facility to dynamically change it. So if I go to app setting and make it to 10, I should be able to make the see the changes without making any code level change. So here you can see, you should see the 10 records over here. Now here we see that we don't have the navigation bar in the below. So we are going to do that. Now since we have the current page and all the total size and everything, we are going to add some code in the view page. So here in my view, here below div, I'm going to add the navigation bar. So I'm just going to copy paste the code and explain to you. So right after the div over here, I'm going to paste this piece of code. So basically, what does, okay, so now in this entire session, I missed this as previous page and as next page property. So basically, this actually manages the last and the previous page uh, validation. So if you are already on the first page, if you click on the previous page button, then you should not do any action. So and similarly, if you are already in the last page, if I click on the last button, it should not throw an exception. So that is the code, that is a property that I missed. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add those properties in the code. It's just two properties that I'm going to add it. So what I'm going to do is that go to first demo project, demo API project, and add those properties over there. So what I'm going to do is that as previous page and as next page. So we need to handle this navigation validation in the UI. So what I'm going to do, instead of adding that in the demo API page result class, I'm going to add it over in the school management page result class. So here I'm going to add two properties, is as previous pages, okay, and as next pages. Okay, so this is small validation. It's as good as, writing whether if it has the current page is greater than 1. So basically it's already on the first page. Similarly, if the current page is uh, less than total pages, then it is in the last page. So these two properties I'm going to add it, and once I add this, that error in the view page should not be visible. You can see. So if it is, it returns true and false. If it is already in the if the previous page is already in the first page, okay, then only it will show this icon, otherwise it will disable it. So this is the code that I've written over here. This for the previous page I've written an I action button, which is an index method which calls a record, and here I'm using ASP.NET helper class, and this is the page number of which is defined in the property of page result, and basis the current page -1. So moment you click on this button, what it happens is whatever it moves to the previous page. Similarly in the next page also, and this is the line of code which shows you total size, current page, and the total pages. So you come to know how many total pages are there. And similarly for the next option, the moment you click on the next button, it adds to the current page, and it moves the navigation happens to the uh, next page. So if you recollect very well, in our method we are passing the page number. So the moment you click on the next page or previous page, that page number value is passed in a controller, which is right over here, and basis that the entire code that I've already shown to you gets executed. Now let's go ahead and let's put a breakpoint in the school management index method, and now you should be able to see the navigation in the bottom. We click on login. Yes, the first page number is 1 by default, and here if you can see it says page 1 of 55. Now when I click on next, we don't have previous page because it's the first page, and as per the code, if you look at the code over here in the index page, uh, in the index page, it is only visible, okay, if there's a previous page already there. So right now it is not there, it's not visible. Now what happens is that the moment I click on next, so now page number become 2, and then our code will execute as per our plan. So we can see the second page. Now we can see the previous page. Now when I click on the previous page, okay, it's minus index minus model record -1, and we come back to our previous page. So see, you can see this is how our, I'm just going to remove this breakpoint, and instead of this previous page and the next page, I can also, I'll just show you, I can also add numbers. So you can also add numbers so that you can use it. So there are a lot of CS available. If you search for the CSS, you paging CSS, you'll get a lot of paging CSS, and accordingly you can add those. So this is a basic one that I picked up. So here you can see now 5 records, and you can see the navigation is happening. So this is how this is working. Page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8. Fine, this is all working. So this is how the paging is implemented, and I hope you guys understood this concept of paging. And as I mentioned earlier, we have also created a dedicated videos on paging. So please go and watch this, and the link of that I'll show, share it in this video. And with this series, I'm going to complete the tutorial on learning web API. This will be the 7th video. And if anyone has any topic that needs to be covered under web API, please do let me know. So basis on the demand of the user, I'm going to create, I'll be creating it. But for now, all these 7 videos, if you go through it and diligently learn it, and if you go through all the practicals, I'm sure you'll understand how to create, not only understand, but also you'll be able to cover the advanced topic of creating and managing your web API projects. So with this guy, I end this tutorials. Guys, do subscribe to my channel. Please share my channel link with your friend, families, and colleagues, and help us to grow this channel so that it reaches to maximum of our developer community. Thank you so much.